Louisiana Senator Bill Cassidy. Now, Senator, thank you for being here with us this morning. We should note that you're in Baton Rouge, nearby to where this awful tragedy happened. I first want to get your reaction to what CNN is learning, that the FBI is investigating this as an act of terrorism.
Yeah, that's obviously significant. It clearly was an act of terrorism, whether it was official or not. But the fact that the FBI is designated suggests that there might have been somebody who's come from abroad or internally with a specific goal to wound as many as people as possible before a high-profile event like the Sugar Bowl, in an effort to send a message. The question is, what is that message? But now that it's being designated an act of terrorism, and by the way, they have the license plates, they know who these people were. That in of itself is significant when the FBI is saying it's possibly an act of.
Right. I believe at last check, there is one suspect. That suspect is dead, according to police. But of course, it is very early in this investigation, and police are still trying to figure out if there are others tied to this, accomplices. I mean, that would be, obviously part of this. And I'm wondering, given what you just said, are you in touch with authorities? Do you have any more information about the suspect and what happened here?
I've had a briefing from the state police. Actually, Secretary of Homeland Security, Ali Mayorkas, had called me just when I was logging on for this call. My staff has requested an FBI briefing for the federal delegation. And so, and I've been in contact with Mayor Cantrell. So very much trying to stay in touch. I know that the federal response is going to be immense and vigorous and prompt, but I just texted Mayor Cantrell if there's anything she thought she needed. Of course, we would work to bring it to bear. But I'm positive that the federal response will be tremendous.
Is there any information, new information you can provide us through those calls and briefings that you've received?
Unfortunately, no. There are some things that I've learned that are not in the public sphere, but it is a criminal investigation, and I think it's best right now to let the law enforcement agencies release this information as opposed to somebody speaking just on the Zoom call.
So you had said that, look, this is really concerning to you because it's now being investigated as an act of terrorism. It was done ahead of the Sugar Bowl tonight. How confident are you about the safety around the Sugar Bowl tonight there in the city?
Extremely confident. Extremely confident. The standard operating procedure for a big game like the Sugar Bowl, for a Saints game, for the Super Bowl is to go through the building, make sure there's nothing there that's wrong, and then to lock it down. The Sugar Bowl, the Superdome has been locked down. There is going to be no problem there. And you can look at the response on the video, on the Earth Cam. My gosh, the New Orleans Police Department and probably some state police officers running to the sounds of the gunshot. You just have to be so proud of them. And then Canal Street just filled up with law enforcement. It's going to be like that from now until, well, for a long time now.
Two quick questions for you. One is just, I want to go back to the early on in our conversation. You used plural. Do you have information indicating that there was more than one suspect at play here?
I'd rather not reply to that.
Okay. You are a retired surgeon, I want to note for our audience. We have at least 30 people across 5 hospitals right now dealing with injuries. Help us understand what their condition may be like and what this must be like at the hospitals, this horrible triage situation.
But corrected, I'm a gastroenterologist. My wife is a general surgeon who trained a lot in trauma.
Sorry about that.
But no problem. There's a standard operating protocol. There's a level 1 trauma center affiliated with LSU Med School and Tulane Medical School, and they would be on alert. There would be other hospitals that in the surrounding area who similarly would be activated. And when this occurs in a mass casualty event, they're trained to look at those people who frankly can't survive, who are already dead. Those who are critical, they would go to the level 1, and those who are less critical, they would go to not a level 1 trauma center, but one that could provide adequate care for their condition. New Orleans is prepared for this. We have lots of events. Mardi Gras, Super Bowls coming up, Final Fours, you name it, Taylor Swift concerts. And so there is a standard protocol that works. And so I am very confident that the medical the medical crews across the city were prepared and that the people are receiving all the care they need.
Before we let you go, Senator Cassidy, I just want to ask, I know I've interviewed you before, and you've dealt with loss in your own life that we've talked about. What do you want to say to the families who are grieving right now, who have lost their loved ones in this horrible mass casualty? And what do you want to say to the people of your state and to the rest of the nation? What do you want them to know?
Yeah, so now's the time for us to be strong. The terrorists win if we allow them to strike terror in our heart. They lose when we continue with our lives. And let it be known, if there was terrorism, we shall track them down. And we shall track them down and bring them to justice. That won't help those who are grieving, but our support for those who are grieving is what we can offer them.
Senator Bill Cassidy, thank you for your time. Please keep in touch with us. And Happy New Year. I know this is not the way you want
Thank
to
you.
start off the new year.
Happy New Year.
Thank you.